Today we're going to solve one of the biggest problems that keeps developers from growing their careers and businesses. People who work in tech almost always get taught that they need to adhere to company or client policy, do it the way it's always been done. Follow the interview process, follow the delivery and deployment and work process that has been set out by the employer. Developers get indoctrinated into this school and factory-like system, which is good for most jobs, but terrible if you want to build a business. But at most, what you can get out of this with your career in freelancing is a job or something that is nearly a job. Follow directions, answer questions, be interviewed, and don't proactively influence the world. You're an introvert. You're not good at communication. This is what they want you to believe because that's what they believe, because that's what they got told, and they don't think too hard. They just repeat what they got told. I'm here to tell you this is nonsense, and here's why, and here's how we're going to solve it. By the way, click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you can get future videos that will help you grow as a developer, freelancer, and web agency owner. I used to be an introvert myself, and I didn't know how to shake people's hands. It was just outside of my ability, let alone how to talk to new people. People would tell me things like, you're an analytical person, so you should do analytical things, not things that involve humans. Here's a picture of me a few years later speaking in front of a large audience, which I've done many times now. Turns out all these labels and conclusions by these so-called experts and bosses are nonsense. You're fully capable of choosing how you want to behave and what you want to do within reason. The label people are limited in their thinking ability and have limited experience learning skills. They just think that things stay the same and people stay the same. In the real world, if you're smart enough, you can learn almost any skill, including communication and social skills. As such, let's talk about how to dig yourself out of that being passed around like a code monkey problem. First of all, what I'm suggesting works for freelancers and business owners, but you can deduce a similar process for jobs as well if you're so inclined, if you don't want to really run a business. So here it is. It's crucial that you learn how to sell. Anyone who doesn't learn how to sell ends up being interviewed and treated relatively poorly, basically like a cheap employee. Selling is a process of coming to a mutually beneficial conclusion in a situation where you're providing your time or service to someone else. That means it's not all just about the client. It's also about you and who you want to do business with. You need to be able to have a conversation where you figure out if the other party would benefit from working with you and vice versa. I suggest only working with people who have a good business and a good business model. You're almost a talent scout in this regard. The buyer needs to answer your questions so you can figure out if their business model is good and if they're a good business owner in terms of character and habits. Do they have a habit of getting rid of people and blaming them for everything and charging back payments? Or do they have a habit of working with people for 10 plus years? Of course, you also need to establish yourself as an expert in the subject matter, the purpose of the call, the problem they are trying to solve. You need to make sure you know how to deliver, not just big talk and pretending you know something. Then they need to agree with your way of providing the solution to their problem, to their big problem. If these steps are achieved, you can establish a relationship of equals, not just being passed around like an hourly code monkey, as I said before. I've linked a more detailed sales process, not just the context, but the whole process in the description below this video. You can just go and click it and watch the second video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the video linked below.